My name is Christy Yamikuchi. I am with the Japantown Rainbow Coalition. So we have a sign here. We have a little sign. You can see it. And we are here today because we are raising the Progress Pride flag. So if you look over here, you can see it majestically floating in the wind. This is great because last year when I was announcing it, it was just it was flat and you couldn't really see it. And so I had to tell people, pretend like it's, waving in the air majestically, but this year it actually is, so you can see it in fact. And so the Japantown Rainbow Coalition last year, we brought the Progress Pride flag here. We organized the first flag raising in Japantown, and now it's gonna be an annual thing, and this is our second one going. So thank you for joining us here today. A few little housekeeping things as well. There are bathrooms in the mall. Use trash bins and also sort your trash. This is not New York, we compost here. Other announcements, if you're wondering a little bit more, you want to find out more information, what is going on? Who are these people up here? Why is she on stage with the microphone talking to me? We have booths and tents that can explain all of that. So we have the San Francisco JACL here today. Give it up for the JACL. They are the sponsor of this event. And we also have Okairi. Okairi is here today. And both of them have information tables where you can learn a little bit more. And also after, we had a full set about songs of food, so you may be getting a little hungry. I am already hungry because I didn't eat this morning, so I will be eating all of the things in that song. But be sure to stop by the mall businesses after the program and grab some lunch or dinner or a snack, or the mochi donut mix, which I will definitely be grabbing because I missed that last time. So again, thank you and welcome. And now, I will be bringing up our next speaker. So joining us here today, we have our lovely District 5 Supervisor. We have Dean Preston here today. And Dean Preston is going to say a few words. So I'm going to bring, yes? Yes, okay. I believe that's what it is. And so here you go.
Thank you, Christy, and huge applause, please, for Christy's second year in a row, our fabulous MC. Thank you so much. So I am Dean Preston. I am the District 5 Supervisor, and that means that I have the honor and privilege of representing Japantown in City Hall, the oldest Japantown in the entire nation. And let me tell you, Christy said, look up, please look up at these three flags side by side, flying in the wind here, and just recognize what a big deal it was last year to raise the Pride flag here on the Peace Plaza for the first time, to do it again this year, and to make this an annual tradition. So thank you to everyone who made that happen. And I can tell you, nothing happens without a ton of work to make it happen, especially in this town. And so I just want to recognize all the folks with the Japantown Rainbow Coalition, Tara and Darcy and Joyce and lots of other folks who work so hard to make this happen. Thank you for all your work. And thank you to the JACL for all of their support and work in this incredibly important event. We are raising the flag, the Pride flag. That is new or newer for Japantown as of last year. But there is a rich history in Japantown going way back of actually supporting and providing a safe space for LGBTQ folks in this city. So going back in 2021, I had the honor of working with some of you who are here and a lot of other Japantown leaders in landmarking the Women's Issei building, and which was, by the way, a unanimous vote. So that's always a good thing when it's unanimous. But when you look at the history of that building, and you learn that in the 1950s, that building was actually a center and hub for civil rights organizing here in the area, and in particular for the first annual convention of the Mattachine Society in, I believe it was 1954, one of the first one of the first gay liberation groups in the nation, having its annual convention, its first inaugural annual convention here in Japantown. And those are the kind of roots that are celebrated, that we celebrated through landmarking that building, and that also remind us that when we talk about things like intersectionality, which is the language that is more recently that we use in a lot of our organizing work and a lot of our discussions, that there's also a history of folks embodying intersectionality long before they were talking about intersectionality. And so when you look in the 1950s at the Issei Women's Building, Mattachine Society, Bayard Rustin, and others organizing for the same things that people are fighting for today, it's a very powerful history. And it's amazing to take that next step in the public celebration and raising of the pride flag here on this amazing Peace Plaza. I want to note one other thing that recently happened at the Board of Supervisors. I authored a resolution that we brought before the board condemning the anti-trans legislation and anti-LGBTQ legislation that we're seeing across the nation. That was in March. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons I bring it up is there was no doubt in my mind, no doubt, that every one of my colleagues, even people I disagree with vehemently on all kinds of issues, and if you've watched a board meeting, we disagree on a lot, right? There was no question in my mind the moment we introduced that it was going to be a unanimous vote. And I think it says a lot in this moment, in this country, with rising anti-LGBTQ legislation and reactionary right-wing hateful activities occurring across the country, that we still have in our elected leadership and in so many community leaders a consensus that San Francisco should be a safe place for the LGBTQ community, and that it takes work to make that a reality. And I want to end on this note. I think in Pride Month, a lot of times people think about that in terms of the big parade on Market Street. They may think about celebrating LGBTQ community in the Castro, but they don't always think about celebrating the LGBTQ community in every neighborhood in the city, where folks live, where folks work, where folks recreate. And to me, this event, this flag raising, is such a powerful reminder of the importance of celebrating, recognizing, making visible LGBTQ folks in every community in our city, and especially here in Japantown, and especially during the week in Kutapi Week, where we are starting. It was just starting now. It's just an incredible bringing together of so many of the things that we need to be celebrating in our society, in contrast to what's happening in so many places around the country. So I appreciate the opportunity to have the mic for a few minutes. Looking forward to more music. And I also, Christy, was made very hungry by that last set. So if you haven't already, please don't leave Japantown without visiting all the amazing restaurants and businesses and supporting Japantown for the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Supervisor Preston, and thank you for the little bit of history too. Someone did their homework before they came here today. That's how you be a politician. But the supervisor was right? So here in Japantown, we actually have one of a very small handful of sites that are deemed historic for LGBT purposes, right? It has that LGBT historic context, and it's right down the block here. And so one of the groups, Supervisor Preston was mentioning the Mattachine Society, right? He said they had their big convention here where all of their organizers would gather. You know, that's not a type of event that you could host at any venue. Most venues would just flat out say no to you, right? They would just say absolutely not. And so the fact that they were able to get that event happening there was pretty significant. But with that little history moment, let's continue our program here.